There's a there is the chance it can leave this weekly imbalance now because of this divergence. I was going to say it's a smaller chance, but looking at the structure, I'm more inclined to say NASDAQ wants to reach into this weekly high, right? This is the draw. I'm more inclined to say NASDAQ wants to reach into this high than wants to reach into this low now. And that means I want to see ES reach up back into this range, potentially into this daily order block before it comes into this weekly imbalance. So my thesis is now just like longs, based on how close we are to that weekly high on NASDAQ. We have some smooth edges up there. But I'll see how this candle closes. Eventually, we'll trade back into the range. But at the moment, right, looking at just the ES and the NASDAQ, you can see that NASDAQ is very clearly closer to its weekly buy-side objective than it is to retrace the entire range and deviate lower. So for me, I'm going to trade with that expectation. Sound is a bit off. Is the sound better now? Let me connect my mic. I don't have my mic on. That's probably why, dude. My apologies. That should be better. Clear. No, I just connected my external microphone. Okay, so yeah, really, it comes down to this 4-hour candle, right? If we can shift delivery state above this previous day high, right? And I'll be looking to see if we can get some sort of open, low, high, close for that next 4-hour candle, which would be nice if we get this change day delivery at 10 a.m. Hey, because that fits the qualification. We need to see a high probability shift in delivery state, right? Remember, we have this daily PD array, and then we have this hourly SysD, yes, but it's actually clear observed in the 4 hours since we have all this accumulation in here. We have this 4-hour change day delivery, which is a consecutive series of opposing range candles into the key level, okay? What's a change day delivery defined as? The consecutive series of opposing range candles into the key level with SMT, right? Then we have this inversion fair value gap that forms, and we have a strong displacement. This is the reversal signature I look for. So for me, right, previous day high becomes my draw on liquidity if we can get that change day delivery. Right, so previous day high, and then obviously we have some greater buy side objectives. We have this swing point on the ES, which I'll keep up there. Then we also have this swing point up here and the previous weekly high, right? So we got some key levels to look at. I'd be again looking to long NASDAQ at the exclusion of the S&P, simply because NASDAQ looks stronger, right, on this higher time frame and lower time frame. If this was to be Tuesday low of the week, where would you draw the standard deviation? I would draw a standard deviation from this last manipulation leg or this first distribution leg. Because this is all consecutive delivery, I would use this first distribution leg in here, or I'd use the wick. So I would either use this or I would use this wick, one of the two. I'd probably just use this first distribution leg. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't want to use this last manipulation leg because then my first objective is at like 22.2, which is like unrealistic to assume for the weekly profile, right? Doesn't make any sense in the context of the delivery. This makes a lot more sense, right? Reaching up into this 2.5, which is retesting the previous week high, and maybe even coming in, taking out that weekly high. Yeah, that's where I would draw it to. Yeah, and the standard deviations are more like we say, like a confluence, right? You want to map them to liquidity objectives. So we have that previous day high that we've taken on the ES. Again, the same kind of concept is going to apply to the ES with our change day delivery, our inversion fair value gap, right? We're going to see if this can form. So really, our trade opportunity is going to present at 10 a.m. I'm really going to demand this 4-hour candle show me this change day delivery, or else I can't trade. So at 9:30, if price wicks down, right, I won't trade until I see 10 a.m. close, because if 10 a.m. closes like this, I'm going to trade the next candle back into the range. If 10 a.m. closes like this, I'm going to trade the next candle up higher into this dealing range. So it will completely depend on that 10 a.m. candle closure. So today, I'll wait till 10 a.m., not even 9:30, right? And I assume that if we are to offer a redistribution higher into the range, we will probably key off levels like, pull this back. We will very likely key off a level like this 15-minute imbalance in here, or a new 15-minute imbalance created in this displacement range. But I'll wait for that, 4-hour candle closure. So we got about an hour today where I'm going to be waiting, and if price just rips at 9:30 into the draw on liquidity, right, then I'll look to trade a reversal, obviously, like a short-term reversal. But we have to wait and see. Right now, we're very high up in the range. I do not want to be buying this premium per se. I also am not entirely convinced on buy side distribution as of yet. Doesn't CPI have the highest probability of a high if I use to go take it to data high and low? I only use data highs and lows in context, right? So here, if we are in a bullish distribution, it makes no sense for us to come into this data low. If I get the appropriate realignment of structure, right? Say, for example, I get this 4-hour trend day delivery, there's no world where I'd be targeting that data low. It just wouldn't make sense in terms of market structure. But if we have the appropriate structure, then yeah, data highs and lows are always going to contain a vast amount of liquidity. And that liquidity is going to be a draw for market, especially if we see both sides of the range offered. Yeah. Yeah, if we get an H4 SysD, I'll probably just use a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart for my entry. I don't really use a 1-minute chart too often, but I'll see what the structure looks like. Right? I don't really need to see the 1-minute realignment if I have a higher time frame, 4-hour draw on liquidity. But yeah, we'll see. Typically speaking, you could choose a 4-hour key level like this. Go wait for a 15-minute realignment off of this key level and then use a 1-minute. But I would probably just say this 4-hour level, when it's retested, I'll look to see if there's any 15-minute key level in there already, and then maybe use a 5-minute or a 1-minute entry, kind of skipping that realignment phase, just because I have a clear draw. Now, what I want to make sure that we have down here, of course, is SMT. If we don't have a stop hunt down here, then none of this idea really works. So you can see that I'm framing this entire thesis around a stop hunt that should presumably occur somewhere down here. Now, if it doesn't, it's just lower probability. If there's no SMT stop hunt down here, it's a lower probability idea, which there might not be actually. Do we see any significant divergence? Right, we see this low is taken on both ES and NASDAQ. Uh, yeah. It'll have to just be this hourly swing point right in here. Yep. It'll have to be this hourly swing point in here that we're framing the divergence off of, which is an hourly divergence. All right, stop hunt there. This is a swing low. It's a precision swing point, a PSP, if you will. Right? Opposing delivery candle in between. So this is down close and up close. This is down close then down close. This creates a swing point, and then we have a failure to stop hunt that swing point, making that a protected low. Right? Which we need to see to qualify a continuation in this case. In all cases, we need to see that stop hunt. I'm gonna make this that so there's not as many words on my chart, but you guys know that's my stop hunt level with SMT, right? That right there is my stop hunt level with SMT. Yeah, and we want to see if NASDAQ can run into that previous day high too, or what kind of divergences form up here. There was a significant market protraction in the PM session of yesterday. We've talked about this before, where the PM session gives you that long wick, and then the next day just kind of expands unilaterally. Now that makes sense when we see this short-term SMT form down there, right? We had that short-term SMT off that PM session protraction. If we see the 4-hour SysD, yeah, I would be considering this to be I'd actually consider this to be a Wednesday reversal, yeah. It doesn't have typically the consolidation that we expect, but it has a protraction phase of price, right? So if we consider the weekly candle to look like this, we have two phases of this assumed bullish weekly candle. Now this phase in here from the weekly open to this low where we're in is gonna be the protraction phase. Now, this protraction phase is inevitably, in the instance of a weekly reversal, going to do what? Form the wick. So it'll look like this, right? So it goes from essentially a candle body of bearish distribution to a protraction phase using this as a wick. And then we'll get a distribution to the other side of the range, right? So in that case, you're going to see the weekly candle form a wick here, right? That's like basic logic that we're using. So we're assuming that that protraction phase of that weekly candle is going to offer a wick into this key level. Question. Afiz, yesterday I wasn't sure whether I had hourly bullish. Could you kindly let me know if it is? Oh, I would probably use for the hourly SISD AB. I'd probably use just this, the consecutive series of candles into the key level. So I would still be using this level here, actually, personally. Yeah. For me, none of this stuff internal really matters too much. Are you talking about in here? Yeah, same thing. And none of this internal stuff matters too much for me. I care more about this change of state delivery there. But again, once we got that change of state delivery, you can see we actually formed a large SMT and then we came back into the range. So yeah, I like to use those higher time frame SSDs if we start to accumulate a lot. It just gives me a clear indication of order flow. For example, here, I could use this hourly candle as a change of state delivery, right, below this short-term SMT, but I don't really want to use that. I'd much rather use this larger 4-hour one. Yep. So my expectation would be for 930 to actually draw back into the range, maybe like this, accumulate, and then 10 a.m. shifts delivery state, retests, and then expands. So that would be like 10 a.m. right here. That would be the ideal, right? However, we could also just reach into this high first. We'll have to be nimble, see what price wants to do today. It does look like price is just in a bullish spool, right? It's distributing higher. But again, I have to be very careful with where I enter in this distribution because I don't want to be caught offside. So going into the open, we're going to see if NASDAQ also wants to reach up into this previous daily high level. All right. Here's that previous daily high that ES has already liquidated. And now we're going to want to see if NASDAQ wants to do the same thing, running into that previous daily high. I mean, it looks extremely bullish, right? I'm going to get rid of this 4-hour blue box. This is that inversion fair value gap that we're using to qualify the chain of state delivery. You guys can see that very clearly in here. Right? Well, we'll know that 4-hour inversion will form if we get a closure through this chain of state delivery, of course. There's no need to keep it on the chart to muddle up the levels. We have a lot of stuff on our chart today. Holding London buys. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's very nice. If we had formed this SMT in London, I would have looked to, if I was trading London, I would have looked to buy London as well. If this was a stop hunt and then an SMT in the ES, this is where I would have looked to buy London. Would have been very nice. So let's see how this 930 opens. Again, I'm really, guys, paying attention to this 4-hour candle mostly. There's a very high chance we reach up in a previous day high. I'm not going to be involved in that, which is fine, right? I just want to see how price reacts with this candle closure. Because yesterday, you could see the 4-hour candle closure was a very, very strong tell. for what I want to see the market do after. The nice entry, that pre CPI entry is very nice. Yeah, you guys, a couple of my students actually probably caught those longs. I know Talon took a redistribution in here actually from this SMT, I believe. Yeah, this SMT in here. My roommate took this trade right here. Right, that changed day of delivery, and then the retest into this previous day high. I think ES has this obvious draw on liquidity as well in the form of buy stops. Let's buy side liquidity. Right, up here. That was an SMT level from yesterday. Yeah, I think it's unlikely to draw back into this 50-minute inefficiency down here. And we had a large wick. And that was also that lower time frame SMT divergence. But drawing into here would be nice, actually. Something like that would be very nice. I want to wait for a run against the main trend here, some sort of manipulation, to get involved in any sort of longs. If you weren't already in a long. Dixie's still just kind of consolidating after it took out that weekly high. Interesting. Yeah, Dixie's in consolidation on the monthly. Okay, 930. I think you'll just expand here, right? Do you have any SMT forming at these highs? A little bit. Let's see if we draw back into the range. We have a 15-minute gap in here. So what we could do is also evaluate this 15-minute gap, see if there's any lower time frame continuity offered. Right, something like a 1-minute entry off that before that 4-hour candle closes. ES put in a double bottom, so we anticipate ES will run into that 15-minute gap. Right, the major look is going to be the 4-hour candle closing above here in the next 30 minutes, but there might be an opportunity actually to trade a 50-minute realignment. Keep this darker actually. It's here, you can see ES comes into that gap, NASDAQ fails to. Let's see if we can form some sort of SMT divergence. And then we'd be looking for a fractal model, right? I wouldn't mind taking a trade like that with a really obvious previous day high draw on liquidity. I wouldn't mind that. And then also looking to pyramid in with the 10 a.m. distribution, right, that we're talking about. All right, so here's that SMT forming. If we could get a change in state above here, I'd go long. We have to not liquidate this high first though. We might just liquidate that high first. But if we can close above here and there's decent risk structure, I'll take a little stab like this. 1.2. Putting on about $200 of risk. So 5 contracts I'll probably do. I didn't get the change in state, so I'm not going to take it. No change in state for me here, so no trade. ES gives you the change in state here, but not NASDAQ. Again, it's still a really tight RR trade regardless. So I need to see NASDAQ close through that candle to even consider it. Right, that's that SMT divergence that we have in the 50-minute gap. So if I can see a closure through this candle, I'll long. Still no train to steady delivery. Right, ES looks much stronger here. Again, keep your eye on this draw on liquidity for ES as well up here. These buy stops. And there we go. Nasdaq plays catch up. Right. Nice little 15-minute, 1-minute fractal model. There's no entry offered. Unless, again, we do not liquidate that high. We come back in and retest the change in state. But I assume that we'll make an aggressive run into these highs with the candle closing. Yep, you're entering with, yeah, exactly. The 9 a.m. is going to form that larger SSD. Yeah, right here. We expect that to happen. All right, so you can see that played out pretty nicely off of that SMT. Now, this would be an example of a time where you could probably just market the turtle soup, but I don't do that, right? You could market the turtle soup, but that's just not how I trade. Now, for me, there's not enough risk structure in here for this high, only a couple points away, but it's nice to see it play out both ways. It's a very nice fractal model we just saw, we observed here, 50-minute, 1-minute fractal model, right? Very beautiful. Like exactly what you're looking for on the lower time frame, on the higher time frames, on the lower time frame here, right? Higher time frame PD array, SMT, chain to steady delivery, nice delivery into the draw on liquidity. So there's previous day high, right? And then, I mean, now our draw is just this draw on liquidity, this high all the way up here, right? So both the indices have taken that. This is definitely going to ship deliveries in the 15-minute chart here, or on the 4-hour chart, rather. Yeah, you'd be looking for the other side of the range now, especially. Might be hard to get involved in this, to be honest. You might have to get involved at a little bit premium, like taking a fair value gap entry, and then risking the pullback, and then adding to it. Just I'm there's a part of me that thinks a 10 a.m. candle might just open and go high and take out that draw. So if we came back into this fair value gap, I would take an entry, guys, with that expectation. But I'd only take an entry because I'd be willing to add if it pulled back on the 10 a.m. open, right? I'm just the part of me that thinks that the 10 a.m. might just open high for this draw. Truly does believe that. Yeah, yeah. I think it will. I think this will just continue to spool. So if we can pull back into this fair value gap, guys, I'll take a starter. Now I'll use this SMT low, right, as my stop loss for just that starter, and then look to add more as we get more confirmation with 10 a.m. This 50-minute candle for me can be the SMT level that sends that next hourly candle to the draw. We're very close to it now. We're only about 80 points away. So for me, the likelihood of a deep pullback is lesser as we get closer to the draw. Okay, so if ES comes into this gap as well, I can look for a starter. So what I can do right here is I can take a starter of 2 contracts, guys, which I will on the NASDAQ. Now I'm going to be looking to pyramid into this position, okay? So I'm going to use this SMT in this gap as my entry. Okay, right in here. You guys see this gap in here, this volume imbalance, and then this fair value gap. I'm going to use that as an entry on NASDAQ. And I'm going to look to pyramid twice more. I want to see more structure form above my breakers. And my breakers are going to be on this side of the curve, guys. So as price can close through, let's look at the time frame where this is all just one candle. Yeah, so as price at 10 a.m., if it can shift through here, I'll use a box. If we can shift through here at 10 a.m., I'm going to look to add more. Okay. Yeah. If we can come and we can shift through this at the hourly close, I'll look to add more to this draw. If we have a deeper pullback, that's also good. I'll look to add one more time down here. I have no fixed stop loss on this trade at the moment. I'm looking to add one more time. I just entered one contract here. Right? And I'm looking to add more if it comes back into here or closes above here. I'm looking to trade this as a trend trade into draw liquidity. So a fixed stop loss will not be helpful for me. So if that doesn't fit your risk parameters, obviously you can't take this trade, right? If you need to have a fixed stop for every position, you can't take a trade like this. What I'd like to see is price actually draw down lower to give me a little bit of a better average fill. I'm also permissible with averaging up. It just depends on what market structure gives me at 10 a.m. And today I only have one look for my draw. It's gonna be 21,706. So I'll only have one level of TP. No partials for me today. Right? If I allow DCA, yeah, you can DCA. I'm only entering with like 2 contracts at this highest level. And I'm willing to add 4 contracts, right, in total. So I'll have 2 more levels of adding 1 contract at a time. Unless it invalidates me and starts to break down much lower, in which case I'll get out of the position, right? But when I'm trading with the trend like this, I can't use a fixed stop loss like I would now normally do because I'm not entering on a protraction phase. I'm not entering on this protraction phase of price. Right? I'm entering on this continuation phase of price, like up here, guys. I want to add more, right? I want to be able to add as we continue higher. So you have to be able to live and anticipate the pullbacks. You have to. If you don't size for those pullbacks, then you'll have no way of trading with the trend. Does that make sense? My Tradeify accounts are 150K. Right? If I don't allow myself the leeway, I'll never be able to trade with this trend that I want to catch. Because for me, I'll always be jacking up my stop losses to an area of potential reaccumulation. Like that. That's exactly how it works. So size down and then allow yourself to average into a position. I'm not going to risk more than about, you guys know, $500 per day. So if this is my trend trade for the day and I go down $500, I'll close my account. I'll close my position and be like, I was wrong. I was offside. Right? Double 2.2x my 50Ks with Apex. 2 times my 50Ks with Apex. September. So if I use $500 of risk per day on my 50Ks, I'm using $1,000 of risk per day on my 150Ks. All right. So yeah, for a trade like this, guys, I can't be disingenuous and tell you I have a fixed stop. I don't. I'm gonna watch what structure gives me. If I'm invalidated in structure, I won't bag hold. You know for a fact I won't be bag holding. If it's wrong, it's wrong. What might be in my invalidation? If we fail to get this 4-hour change of state delivery and we aggressively reject this range and we come back in lower, then I'm going to be closing my position. I'm okay with it pulling back because I entered here. I'm okay with it pulling back into here and taking my next entry. I just don't know if this SMT is going to hold at the moment. I have no idea. That SMT could hold. It also could not hold, right? It's so premium in the range. I want to get involved. Where am I looking to add to my position? If we can close through this breaker. That's what this orange box is. This orange box is my hourly breaker, okay? You see this? If we can close through it, I'm going to look to add on the next hourly candle. So the hourly candle, in my opinion, is either going to do this, Mohammed. It's going to come up here, close through, retest the breaker, and go to the draw, or it's going to come down here, retest this chain of state delivery, and then go higher. I want to add here, or I want to add here. So I'm either going to be adding at this lower DCA level, or I'm going to be averaging in at this higher dollar cost averaging up level. I don't know yet. I have no idea what price is going to do. Yeah, exactly. If it's not your style of trading to add to a trend, then of course you cannot trade like this. There's nothing wrong with that also. If you're not getting involved in a protraction phase of price, you can say just have a blanket rule for yourself and say I'm not entering on, premium. My job here is not to adjust my trading style for anybody, right? It's to show you exactly how I trade. How I manage risk with different types of market conditions. This is clearly here is a different market condition than yesterday's trade. This here is clearly a different type of market condition, in my opinion, than this. Yesterday, our trade here, where was it? This long, we were trading a clear protraction of the daily candle, and then you could have traded the clear expansion. For me, right, we're adding to this expansion. We're in the expansion already, and I have to play catch up, which is fine. It's just a different type of trade, right? So like I said, the hourly candle closing through this breaker will be how I average up. And I will average up. I have no problem adding in premium with that context, right? And I'm looking for everything to come off at 21,706. No partials for me today. Yes, I'm in, yes. I took my entry in this 1 minute fair value gap, guys. I have marked out right here, okay? The more important question for my students and for premium members to ask is not if I'm in, but if they can understand the thesis as to why I'm in, right? If you can answer the question I'm in, then ask yourself, do you see what I did here? Do you see why I'm in? Do you see the 15-minute SMT? Changes day delivery, retest the fair value gap. There's my protected low for this price leg. If price wants to come lower and invalidate the SMT, I have a key level which I'm willing to see if price is supported by. That 4-hour change day delivery. If not, then I'm going to look to get out of my position. If then statements, guys. Yep, of course I'm keeping an eye on this 4-hour gap on ES. Yes. Right up here. What do you think based on my chart right now I want to see happen, Eli? Based on just this 4-hour chart, which I'm trading. I've already told you guys I'm trading this 4-hour chart. What is my anticipation given the levels I have on my chart? Do I think that ES is going to run into previous week high with NASDAQ? Am I trading ES for strength? Where's my draw on liquidity? Why do I have these lower buy side levels marked out on ES but nothing else? Why do I not have this level marked out on, for example, why did I not mark out that high on NASDAQ, guys? Why did fees not mark this out? I only marked this out right now. Why am I not marking out that 4-hour high, but I am marking out the ES 4-hour high? Right? Think about the weekly context here. What am I trading to? What is my only draw on liquidity right now? Potential SMT at the previous week high, right? That's all I'm trading for. Weekly external range expansion. Yep. Using a daily internal range SMT, keying off to the weekly external range highs. There's only one draw on liquidity from each day then. Just that high. Right? The rest of the lower time frame things we are seeing matter much, 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 much less to me. Do you see how I don't care about these lower time frame levels? And do you see why I position myself so aggressively in here? Right? Food for thought. Now, you guys are not used to seeing me add to a positional trend as much. I'll usually trade a protraction phase into an expansion phase. But do I have an opportunity to do that today here, guys? You know my trading style. Do I have an opportunity to get involved in the protraction phase today? Or do we have a one-directional expansion of the CPI candle? Yeah, not at all, right? So I hope you guys can see how I navigate that. It's just a different type of condition of trading. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't trade inside of this, guys. It doesn't mean it's impossible to take a trade in here. But do you see how I wait for conditions? What was my condition today to go long? You guys will see it on the 1-minute chart. What do I need to see to go long? What do I have to wait for at least? Although this is premium, guys, this is more premium of an entry than this is. Why did I wait for this entry and not take that entry? Someone tell me. Someone tell me why I didn't just take this entry down here, the first pullback. Why did I wait for the expansion, then the retracement? Why? What do I need to see for every time I get involved in the trade? What are the 3 conditions I must see? What is the higher time frame PDA right here, guys? Someone tell me what time frame that is. M15. What is the lower time frame reversal signature I teach you guys? It's going to be M1 SMT plus SysD, right? Even better if there's an inversion fair value gap somewhere in there. Okay, do I have that? Yes. So that doesn't matter where it is in relation to order flow. I have the signature I need to get involved in a price action expansion, right? You have to be, you have to see the same thing form on some fractal, or else you are just chasing price. Yeah, everyone in here got that right. Yeah, IFVG. The IFVG didn't form, did it? When did it form? After we came into this fair value gap, right? That's your IFVG. So people were waiting for that. Where would your entry be? It's actually be here. Your entry would actually be here, right? So 3 entries. All of them are more premium. All of them are more premium than the first pullback. And that's okay. This is not the entry we take because it doesn't align itself to any structure that we have. Okay? Yeah. So I want you guys to see that even when you're joining a move in premium, which we clearly are today, there's still things that we do to control our risk, manage our position, right? And have its levels of structural validation, invalidation, and confluence. We're not just shooting blind. We never are shooting blind. It's easy to think that you are chasing, and I really want you to change your perspective from that to you are looking for the same set of signatures on various time frames. Do not just assume you're chasing price when you have a correct thesis and a correct model. Right? That's all I'll say. Yeah, it definitely has. I think it will. It definitely has the potential to come back into the breaker. Yes, What am I going to do here if it comes here, guys? Like I did yesterday. What am I going to do here if price comes back into here and changes delivery state? What would I want to do there in all cases? Add. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to do that. Yeah. Yeah. If price reaches the target, the draw, I'm done with only 2 contracts, right? So this is my position. If it doesn't give me a chance to add, whoops. If it doesn't give me a chance to add, then I can't add. I can't add. If it doesn't come back into the range, I can't add, right? You would cash out? Yeah, and that's fine. That's your trading model. For me, I would never take off my contracts here. Yeah, the entry I had was based on the 4-hour expectation of SysD plus SMT at previous week at weekly highs. Yeah. So do you, Ben? Better question is: do you think I want to see price draw back into this chain of delivery here? Do you think I'd hold my trade if it came into here? No, of course not. Right? But look at the relative draw. How many points away are we from my draw? How many points away are we from my draw on liquidity? 25. Am I going to sit through a 150 point retracement? No chance. Will I sit through a 50 point retracement and have a good ad? Yeah, I will. But that's my own personal risk management, right? And what I can do is I can even take a partial at some point in time. If it pulls back, I can take a partial and then look to add again, right? I'm okay with doing that. Personally, I'm okay with doing that. CBH, I wouldn't, and that's okay. And that's why we're different traders. And that's why we'll both be profitable traders. Right, Eli? Like, I'm just telling you how I would manage the position. Because for me, I have enough back-tested data to support my thesis. Right? So I have a strong suspicion, guys, I won't get a chance to add to this position. Who is with me here that a fees is probably not going to get to add to this position? Like I am, right? Like I would be very shocked if I can get an add in, but I'm telling you guys right now, but like pretend I wasn't streaming, you didn't see the chart. If it came into that level, I would add, and that's worth thinking about, okay? That's worth thinking about. If I wasn't streaming, you didn't see this chart like this, and I told you I would add at the breaker, I would add at the breaker. It's probably not going to give it to me, right? And for guys like Eli, you can hear him say, if it does come down for him to the breaker, he would probably get out and not add, right? But here, there's no chance to add. But this would still be an add for me. Now, no matter, even if it came a couple ticks away, I would still add here. Unfortunately, what is the probability I get an add? What is the probability I get to add here? Very low, right? It's lower than if we just come into the draw. And that's why I position myself early position here, right? This is considered to be a starter. Now, do you think I got my full size in with my starter, guys? Who thinks in here I added my full position size with my starter? Well, of course not, right? Because there's less structure in here. This is a way better trade for me. This is a far superior trade. Hourly structure confirmed, right? But I don't get the chance to here. That's why it's a starter. I don't add my full position with the starter, guys. You guys know that about me, right? It doesn't mean I don't get in with something, but, I'm not going to take a 15-minute fractal for a full position risk. It doesn't make sense for me. So as price comes into my draw and liquidity, I will be done for the whole day. Yeah, Yusuf, I took this 15-minute, 1-minute realignment right here. That's the trade we're in. Nice, you passed your 150K valuation. What confirmed the point I entered? I actually entered on the PDRA divergence. So the minute ES came into this fair value gap on this candle at 9:37, I entered. So I entered at 9:37 candle. I think it was right. Look at my entry price. Let me see. 21,621, right? I entered at the high, actually. I entered at the high. There you go. So I entered as soon as that candle closed, actually, because we retested. Right? 1.6 hour trade, 1.7 hour trade. That was the invalidation or the add, one of the two. Remember I said, if it comes in and wicks down here, below here, I'll add a bit, and it shows me validation of that level, meaning this 4-hour change in state. If not, that was the close level. But both ways, it was around a 1.5 hour trade. Yeah. This is a very tough trade to take with me. I hope you guys can see that. This one, again, my job is to trade for you guys and not to sugarcoat anything, right? My job is to sit here and do my job. It's a weird way of saying it, but that's my job, right? To sit here and do my job. So you get to see some different conditions sometimes, and I think it's a learning opportunity, right? I can't necessarily change and over-explain and over-justify certain things to you guys because then I'm not doing my job. The most important thing I do every day is trade. Yes, I have a community. Yes, we have a Discord. Yes, I teach, but I got to trade, guys. That's how I make a living. Right, so you're seeing some of the nuances to that trading, and that's good. Okay, so ES comes into that buy side liquidity right at that pre-10 a.m. macro, 950 to 1010. Interesting. We might get that pullback now, right, after ES liquidates that buy side. Again, for me, I'm looking at this hourly breaker to support price if it comes back down. Yeah, I would anticipate that most would not take this trade with me since it's in deep premium and it's before the 10 a.m. candle opens. Okay, so I would anticipate the like if I asked you guys a poll right now, like let me pull up a poll quickly. Who took this one with me? I would anticipate more people to say no than yes, actually, right? I would be surprised if more people said yes. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna not do it, guys. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna trade, right? Or not give the analysis, right? Like my job is to do exactly that. So I'll do that. But again, I would be shocked if everyone said, "Yeah, I took it with you," because it doesn't fit the normal mold. It's a continuation trade in premium, right? Where we're talking about pyramiding concepts. I did with small risk. I'm in the trade. I didn't take the trade. I did ride or die. I didn't. Good. Yeah. The people who didn't. Yeah. The people who didn't. That's also okay. Right? So depending on your risk tolerance, guys, some of you may choose not to let this trade move back against you. I am not going to tell you your own risk management techniques. That's not my job. So if you're up, like we are up, let's say how many points? Right now, we are currently up. If you took the entry in this candle, somewhere in this candle, let's say you took it midway point, you're up 68 or 70 points. If you choose to let this position come back against you and go red, that's your positional choice and risk management. I won't tell you that. That is me doing too much for you. Your job as a trader is to manage your risk. However, I'm telling you know what I will do. You know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to tell you your own strategy for risk management. Many of my students will be completely out here. I know many of my students will take this 80 points and they will be done for the day. I'm not going to tell you how to manage your trade. I am not managing risk. I click out when you do. Okay, well, if you're Valadon, if you're just straight up riding with my position, then you know it's coming off at 706. Oh, it's so funny, dude. I hope we get burned a few times though, because that happens, bro. It happens. Sometimes it's gonna come all the way against us, and that's okay. And I'm okay with it. I'm telling you, I'm okay with it, right? You've seen it happen to me, right? Sometimes they'll come all the way back against me, and I'm okay with that because I have enough forward tested data to say, you know what, if every time I touch my model and I make perturbations to what I'm supposed to do, what do you think it does to my EV? Up or down? Yeah, I mean, if you just take my signal and you learn those habits, you're gonna be one of the most tenacious traders, out there. I consider myself to be a very, very tenacious trader because I don't ever really, change my position, give up my rules, right? Violate my theses. I hold through things that are uncomfortable to a lot of traders. But it's not easy, and it didn't happen like that for me. It took a lot of time to get there, right? All right, Dad's going to his work. Dad's done. It's not easy to like make the decisions I make. Truly, it's really not. I consider myself to be a trader who has a great deal of skill in being able to do this live, because just being live in front of people changes a lot, guys. It's very different. Here's that 10 a.m. candle. Let's see if it opens low. We want to see it open low if we're gonna get a continuation. Yeah, I think like the one thing you guys will learn as you continue to trade in your journey is that when there's lots of eyes on you and there's lots of pressure on you, right? Trading becomes a little bit less easy. It becomes harder actually because there's so much attention on you from your family, your friends, in this case from the Discord, right? You got to learn to just kind of drown that out and just trade your model. Anyone in here now knows we got this man discounted. That's true. I won't do this forever. My goal is to have as many of you profitable in the next couple years and then, build up the community, but maybe take a step back personally. Just because I'll be getting older. I'll probably have a family myself, that kind of stuff. We go to Vegas and gamble. Risk management specialist. Okay, so as you guys know, all my position will come off at 706. I front run by 1 point, so my TP is actually 706, okay? It's 706.25, but my contract comes off 1 tick before, just in case we leave a double top or spread. Sometimes there's spread on the micros minis, so I'll do 1 tick before. Yeah, I think this will extend much past this draw on liquidity. Girard 8. I think it will go higher than the doll. But what was my thesis? Here, the most important question is, what was my thesis? Do I change that mid trade? Do you think I'll ever do that? Will I change my thesis mid trade? Personally, some people will do this. They'll say, look at the market. It's expanding. I want to keep holding. Will I change my thesis mid trade? Ever? No, right? So even though the market looks great to continue expanding, I agree actually. I think that we might actually come past this draw on liquidity for sure. I will very, very likely not hold any single contract on like 90% of days. And just because that's my rules. Simple as that. Rules, right? Just the rules of engagement of the market. Take it when it gives it to you, leave it when it's not giving it to you, and follow your edge. TPSL is my edge. Yeah, I go with the higher time frame, exactly. I don't know how this. Remember yesterday, if you had that same thesis, guys, remember this candle? Where did I take all my contracts off? Do you guys remember? I'm going to get rid of all this shit. Where did I take off all my contracts yesterday? This high. Now, at some point in time, didn't this candle look incredibly bullish to keep going up higher? And then what happened? Look at the 4-hour candle, right? Didn't that 4-hour candle look incredibly bullish at one point in time? Probably. But the thesis was that high. And that was the high I was most comfortable taking my contracts off at, period. And then you saw we got a reversion back into the range. So this could retrace. I could see it now accumulating, right below that draw on liquidity. It could definitely retrace and maybe offer me another entry. Yeah. Yeah, so the swing high is where it's all going to come off for me personally. Again, if you're one of my students, I assume you've probably taken off something or you're not going to go red on the trade. And I would say for newer people, for newer students, don't go red on this trade. What do you think that's going to do to your mental if you go red on this trade? 5 points to your TP. 10 points to your TP. Don't go red on this trade. You'll tilt. I won't tilt. I know I won't tilt. Like I'll take my loss and I'll be tilted personally, but I won't act on it. Don't go red on this trade. So if you want to break even your stop, if you want to secure a partial, if you want to do something, go for it. But don't go red on the trade. That's what I'll say as your mentor, right? Going red will build character. I know that the number of times I would go red on a trade like this, and I didn't have the perspicacity to not act on it, right? Then I would just tilt myself onto a new dimension, right? So manage this as you will. I'm being very, very deliberate in telling you guys this because it's CPI. Price can do anything, and you're on side, 80 points. Now, for me, onside 80 points versus onside 300 points doesn't matter. I don't care. I trade to TP or I trade to SL. But my job is also to teach newer traders, and I fully understand some of the mental battles associated with newer traders. Trust me, I know it because I teach lots of people individually. I see it every day. So I'm not going to be the person to say, just hold and whatever happens, happens. No, that's not realistic. And there's a part of trading that needs to be hyper realistic. If you're going to get emotional, guys, and you know that, then take your position off. If you guys feel emotion right now in the position, take it off right now. Because your job is to build that character and that discipline and that conviction. It's not just to have it. I can't just osmose it to you. You know what I mean? So maybe you take it off 10 points early, 10 points early, 10 points early. And then you see it deliver like it just did right there, right? Okay, now we're out of the position. And then next time when you go to take it off, 10 points early, 10 points early, 10 points early, right? When you do that the next time, you'll say, hey, maybe, maybe. Oh, 1 second. My copier did not close all my position. 1 second, guys. Sorry. There we go. 1 second. My copier didn't close everything. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, now it did. Sometimes my copier doesn't close everything if it wicks it. Sometimes, right, you'll take it 5 points early, 5 points early, 5 points early, 10 points early, and you'll keep doing it. And then eventually you'll be like, damn, maybe if I don't take it 10 points early, the one time I lose, add up all of the times I took it 10 points early, right? Think about it, right? So the one time, say you take it like here, guys, right? And you do that times 5. Now you're essentially giving up 100 points. Now, the one time it comes back against you 80 points, you would still be green, right? Just waiting for that 1 TP to get hit. But you got to do it to yourself, right? You got to actually sit in that discomfort and see one of those times retrace against you, right? Cool. All right. Make sure all your positions closed out, guys. Don't pull whatever just happened to me where your trade copier just doesn't close you out. Everything's closed. Awesome. Done for the day. Nice. Okay. How do we do today? Red, green, purple, orange, blue. We were on a tear recently, guys. Market's been going decent for us. I would expect to see a lot more yellows today, to be honest. I would expect a lot more people who didn't trade. Big green, missed it all. That's fine. Yeah, it's a very, very hard day to trade. Again, I'm telling you right now, this is a hard day to trade. It's just a continuation day. And these types of continuation spooling days are not easy. Not easy at all. And if someone tells you differently, they're lying to you. I'm telling you, they're telling you differently. They're probably just lying to you. I'll be the first to say this is a very hard day to trade. Anyone have any questions about our entry? So here was the entry, guys. Any questions about this trade? Right, 15-minute inefficiency, higher time frame, 1 minute reversal signature, and then PD array divergence entry. Pretty simple, right? Higher time frame draw was obviously the weekly high, right? All we had to do was look at that weekly level. We didn't really need too much more, right? And then we hit that draw on liquidity. And again, I'm very, very inclined to say price will continue to expand and create a new weekly high. But that's not my thesis for the trade today, so I'm not going to hold any contracts. Yeah. So for me, I would anticipate, guys. So if people are, I know I'm gonna get the question: where's price gonna go today? How much higher could it go? I think as long as ES shows bullish structure to these highs, Nasdaq will continue to expand. That does not mean I'm gonna sit in this trade any longer. That's not what it means. It just means if you're asking me where I'm going, I'm saying don't fade this train. Don't fade this train. If you want to hold, by all means, hold your contracts because this looks incredibly bullish. As does this. But you know what I'm doing. I'm getting off the charts for the rest of the day now because, took my trade, done for the day kind of thing. Okay, cool. At what point would you close the trade? What is the invalidation point? So if you're still in the trade is what you're asking. Is that if you're still in the trade? At this point, I would be out of the trade personally. I wouldn't be holding anything. Question: are you stopping a trade at any point for the holidays? Just Christmas and New Year's week. So I suggest deeply to everyone here who's still here, the week of Christmas and New Year's, do not trade. It is defined as the lowest volume, lowest probability week of the entire year. Don't give back the gains you've made for the entire year and the discipline you built during Christmas and New Year's. You're also gonna ruin the time you have at home with your family trading the shittiest time of the year. Okay? So do not trade Christmas and New Year's. Look at the calendar. Let's pull it up together, okay? Because that's the time, first of all, you're at home. Spend time with your family. You know what? I'll come onto the Discord and we'll do a lesson together, okay? We'll do a lesson so you guys can feel like you're still being plugged into the charts. But just don't trade. We'll do a lesson, okay? We'll do a lesson over that week. I promise. I'll put it in my calendar right now. We'll do a lesson. So from the 23rd to the 30th, guys, look. I'm going to send you a calendar. These dates we're not trading, okay? We're not trading those days. What we'll do is I will put a poll out and we'll do a lesson. And we can choose to do a lesson maybe on Boxing Day, or we can do a lesson on the weekend, or we can do a lesson before New Year's. But we're not going to trade the price action for that week because it's just low probability. And it's going to ruin your time in the holidays. So we'll just learn something and then enjoy our lessons, enjoy our holidays, and we'll come back the 2nd of January locked in for a whole nother year to trade. Right? Just 1 week. Essentially just 1 week, right? But yeah, Christmas and New Year's is not a good time to trade. So please, you won't find me trading because, rules. But I really highly suggest you don't trade. Yeah, I'll trade after New Year's. I'll trade Thursday and Friday after New Year's because people will come back to the markets. I'll look. Maybe if there's something on Thursday or Friday. If not, then yeah, Monday. All right. What's Boxing Day? Boxing Day is just the day after Christmas. Yeah. Don't be too eager to trade that time of the year. I don't know anyone who's made money during that time. Has anyone made money trading Christmas? I've only ever lost money because I'm always distracted at home with family. And then really, really slow conditions because there's like bank holidays, for example, Like no bank, no institutions are trading Christmas or New Year's. It's not happening. And then I remember just listening to ICT, and he was like, "Yeah, if you're trading Christmas and New Year's, you're just an idiot." I was like, "Oh, well, cue the noise, cue the clown noises, because I'm an idiot." Yeah, including the 23rd. The days leading up to Christmas and Christmas itself are just low probability. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll look. Like, I will look at price and I will tell you guys if there's something super obvious, right? But good habit. Let's just focus on a lesson that week and then just taking some time off with our families, right? And then you know what I'll do just to make it even better? What I'll do right now for the people who stayed and are listening, I'll do January. Everyone's in WAP. I'll give you guys like a 10% or 15% discount. Okay. So for the week that we don't trade, I'll give you a discount for that first week of January. So I'll reduce your monthly payment by 15%, so you don't feel like you're missing a single thing. Then you have no reason to come to me and say like, okay, well, I'm not getting my value out of the learning. No, bullshit. I'm going to reduce your payment by 50%. I'm going to send an email to WAP right now saying everyone for that first week of January gets a 15% discount. And then there's no complaints for not trading Christmas. Okay? So then if you trade and you come at me, I'm like, you didn't even pay for the server. You paid just to blow your account yourself. And then I'll feel no guilt whatsoever about you guys trading Christmas time. Zero guilt on my part. Okay, cool. I am gonna hop off, go walk my dog. Oh, dude, this guy's actually, Faceless is actually killing it. The sign function exploded higher. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off the charts. You guys know what I'm looking for, right? ES, looks bullish to buy side, right? These are the levels that we're looking for. Where's NASDAQ gonna go? I have no idea where NASDAQ's gonna go. Just watch ES, right? Watch these levels up here. Okay, cool. See you guys tomorrow. I think we have PPI tomorrow, right? I don't know. What do we have tomorrow? Let me check calendar. We have PPI 8:30. So an unemployment claim. So we'll trade again at 9, right? I try and avoid the 8:30 folder. The past month or two, it's just been really not clean. Today was pretty clean, but the rest of them have been pretty choppy. So we'll trade again around 9, and yeah, hopefully everyone had a good day today. Okay, take it easy, guys. Peace.